Oh, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Friday in March, and as you can see, the sun is shining outside. The weather is beautiful. I've got all kinds of projects going on. As you can see, also some home woodworking projects, but wanted to invite you to the first installment of what's going on in Gott's Garage. So today, we got a couple of projects torn apart. Welcome to the garage, by the way. Little quick tour. So we've got a toolbox there filled with all kinds of goodies, all kinds of workbench space, sandblast cabinet. So I'm happy to do any kind of sandblasting that you may need, wheels, parts, you name it. And I can sandblast it if I can fit it in that cabinet. There's all different grades and grits and techniques to get your stuff all rust-free and cleaned up. All right, so project number one. We've got 2008 Chevrolet Silverado 1500. It's the Vortec Max. So this is a 6.0 liter. Now this is the second year that, pardon me, that GM introduced the active fuel management system. So this 6.0 liter they started it in like 2007.5. So this is brand new. And unfortunately, when they first started these systems, they were garbage. So here we are. I believe this truck's got about 160,000 miles on it. Granted, it's, 14 years old now, but not a ton of miles. And as you can see, motor is torn off. We've got the cylinder head off on this side here. And reason being is our number 4 hydraulic lifter has collapsed on us. So this is for this was the intake valve. So as you can see, this is a standard lifter here. So what a lifter does, it's got a little roller on the bottom there, and that rides along the camshaft, and it moves this lifter up and down. And on top of that lifter, you have what's called a push rod. Now this is one style of engine, mind you. There's different types, but this is a push rod engine. Most V8s are of this variety. In any event, this pushes up from that lifter, and it pushes into this, which is your rocker arm. So it pushes on one side of the rocker arm, which in turn pushes down on the other side, which collapses your valve. Kind of tough to see on this. We'll look on this cylinder. This is actually off a different vehicle, but these are what your valves look like. So you've got intake and exhaust valves, and they're equipped with springs that keep them closed. And that little rocker that we saw there, that sits in this channel, and it pushes down on this spring-loaded valve to open it on the other side where your cylinder sits. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. The whole issue with this vehicle is that these are, it's GM was trying to get better fuel economy, and what they did is they did this active fuel management, and what it does is it shuts down 4 of the 8 cylinders. And how it does that is, you see that little hole right there. So that is for oil to pressurize this cylinder to pardon me, to give it more height or less height to shut down the valves. So what happens is these get gummed up and they stop or they collapse. So this one is completely collapsed. As you can see, the one right next to it is much longer. So this one can go up and down all day long, and it's not going to open that valve, unfortunately. So that's going to cause a misfire and a very poor rough running condition. You can see, can you guess which one cylinder 4 was? Yep, it's the one that's a different color than the rest of the cylinders. And that's from, the cylinder not firing, essentially. It's running a little hot in there. So in any event, a cylinder head's okay. We're going to be able to just replace the lifters on this one bank, and the customer elected to hold off on the other bank for another time if need be. But as of right now, fortunately, it didn't do any damage to the camshaft, and we're in good shape to reassemble this motor. So that's project number 1. Project number 2, this one hopefully will be done yet today. This is a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and this one is a very good customer of mine. I've done a ton of work on this thing. In fact, I just had the entire dashboard ripped out about 6 months ago to do the HVAC module, because the and I'll do a separate video on that. But the HVAC module, the doors, blend doors were sticking. In any event, this one is getting a new AC condenser that was leaking, a new radiator that was also leaking, a new power steering rack that you can see right down there, because that was leaking as well, and then the inner tie rod that is connected to it was loose. It's getting a new serpentine belt that was worn. What else are we doing? Oh, and front struts, of course. So those are our old struts, and new struts are not quite in, but they're sitting in there. So those are called quick struts. Comes equipped with the strut, the coil spring, and the top mount. It's also getting a CV axle. That was not initially part of the repair, but unfortunately when I took it apart, you can see what Minnesota has done to the threads on the end of this axle. So this nut right here holds your wheel on. And if it doesn't have good tension on those threads, you're in big trouble. So you can see, just taking the nut off, it stripped out the threads, and there's just nothing left on there. So we're replacing the axle shaft as well. So lots of fun going on today. This one will get shipped off to get aligned, hopefully tomorrow morning, and get back to my customer either Saturday or Monday. And we'll keep cruising. We got a couple more projects that we'll touch base on maybe on Monday and talk about some fun with those. Anyhow, thanks for checking us out today. Excited to be in business full-time here and excited to see some of you guys coming around for any kind of services I can help you out with. Any questions, please feel free to ask. My number is on the Facebook page as well. And you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.